Hey there, my name is Felix, otherwise known as Frog, and welcome to the first episode of Warmup Catch-Up, the show where I sit down and have a chat with your favorite CSGO players while they go through their warm-up routine. Joining me today is your favorite Asian CS player, and maybe even your favorite CS player overall, Impression. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So, Impression, how are you doing today?
Hey, what's up, man? Well, I'm doing not bad. It's actually 11 for me,
Yeah.
11 p.m. in the evening, almost close to the morning. Time zone differences. But hey, glad to be like the first guest on your show. Sounds like really fun stuff to do. So yeah, let's get to it, man. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. So you just got back as well from Mongolia, is that right?
Yeah, I actually landed back in Brunei. I'm right now in Brunei, right?
Yeah.
I landed back in Brunei on the 5th, I believe.
Mhm.
And I was actually quarantined till the 10th. And I only just felt freedom and felt like I'm actually home and just chilling and everything, resting. Like just like 2 or 3 days ago. So yeah.
Right. And so how long was the travel again? You told me in DMs, but like it was absurd to get back from Mongolia.
Yeah. So okay. The the thing was that I had like a 14-hour layover in the Singapore airport, and I think the total travel time was somewhere close to like maybe 36 or 38 hours or something like that.
Right.
Just because of like the 14-hour layover, so it was pretty tiring.
And so like what do you even do for that period of time? I mean, I think you said you rented like a cabin, was that it?
Yeah. So like I I booked like a 8-hour lounge.
Mhm.
It was cost about like 80 US, and I just basically sat in the lounge. There wasn't like a bed or anything. There was like a little booth, and I was just like lying in the booth, like it was like super ghetto setup. I just put a chair from somewhere else, and then I just like had my feet on it, and then I was lying in like a little like I don't know, it's like a study booth kind of.
Okay.
And I managed to burn a couple of like hours just like walking around shopping in like the airport area. I actually met some of the Paper X guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually met like my ex-coach DSN
Yeah.
and like two of the Paper X players along with Nikhil, like the founder of CS:GO to Asia.
Mhm.
And I spent like maybe like half an hour to almost an hour just chatting with them. So that was nice. Catching up, hearing how they're doing because they were on the way to challenges. I think it's VCT.
Yeah, it's in Iceland,
VCT
right?
Masters. I have no idea. Yeah, I have no
Yeah.
idea. Yeah, in Iceland. So they're in Iceland right now. I have no idea what these like tournaments are actually named, but they were going overseas, and I managed to catch them at the airport while I was transiting. That was pretty cool.
That's
The
such a funny
esports connects the
coincidence.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Esports connects the world in such a nice and like heartwarming way, I think.
Mhm. And I mean, obviously you were traveling as well for an event. How was that? Was that your first land in how long now?
Oh, that was my first big clan in like 3 years almost, I think.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so it's been like super long. It's nice to like um like most teams in like Europe and stuff, they actually started traveling like a lot earlier than this.
Yeah.
Because Asia was still super strict. Asia is actually still super strict when it comes to COVID, but we're
Mhm.
slowly like moving into the endemic phase. Like a prime example right now is the Singapore airport, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, there are actually still mandates for like mask, like having your mask on.
Yeah.
But for example, in like the Munich and maybe the Frankfurt airport, like in Germany, there's actually already no mandates to like keep your face mask on and stuff like that. They encourage it, but you don't have to do it to
I see.
travel. But in countries like Singapore, Incheon Airport in South Korea, Brunei Airport, for example, in Bandar Seri Begawan, everything, you still actually need to have your mask on.
Mhm.
So it's cool that lands are happening again.
Yeah.
Since Asia is always playing catch up
Mhm.
for some reason. And it's nice to be able to travel again and play in a big land. The Mongolian crowd was crazy. They were, oh my god. I think they are the best crowd that I've ever played for. So it was really nice to get that experience after like 2 or 3 years or so, and felt so good playing.
Right. And was this your first time in Mongolia?
Yeah, it was my first time personally in Mongolia as well. So
Did you
I
get to travel
I
at
think
all,
it was a
or?
very no, I had so okay. So the thing was, I went there and we had a lineup change. SQA decided to take a break from like competitive gaming.
Yeah.
So SQA was in-game leading prior to me taking over again.
Mhm.
And I actually had to spend we as a team had to spend a lot of time and a lot of effort like building the team again because we had a change of players, change of roles. Op is like a really huge role, right? Like
Yeah.
most oppers are like some of the top rated players in like good teams and stuff like that. So there was a lot of like team building again. We didn't have time to travel at all on the weekends. We were just resting because like we were practicing Monday to Saturday. So a bit of a missed opportunity because Mongolia is like honestly a really beautiful country, but we didn't actually get to see much of it. We were in the city in Ulaanbaatar like most of the time.
Yeah.
All the time, in fact, actually.
And so, I guess, speaking on roster changes, what were your expectations going into the event? Did you guys think, yeah, no, we can definitely win this? Or was it like, we'll just see what happens?
I was actually super confident that I'll be able to win it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it felt like um, when I actually missed like the art MESA grand finals, it was actually really disappointing for me because they like NKT actually made it so close against Checkmate back then at the LAN finals.
Yeah.
And when I saw how we actually like lost and stuff, I was a bit sad. So I was very determined to win because when I looked at IHC and Checkmate, I felt like they were good, right? But they are not undefeatable. It was like definitely a doable thing to get a series off of them.
Yeah.
And we worked really hard for it, and we managed to do it because we worked hard, and also because of like some roster changes, some like teams like fundamental changes and stuff like that, like caller change, right? I added a bunch of like tricky stuff that was pretty hard to deal with, I think, and it got us rounds, got us good momentum, and it's LAN, right? When it's LAN, everything feels. Once you get like the ball rolling, it's like it really feels like really easy to play.
Right.
So on the day itself when we were playing, I already knew, okay, our chances of winning this is like sitting at a good 75 to 80% if we don't choke. Because the way we were playing was like so good. It was really good Counter-Strike, comms were on point, and everyone was aiming good, everyone's doing their job, everyone's like contributing, and
Yeah.
Going into it, it was a great feeling, I think, all in all, the entire event.
That's nice to hear. I was gonna say as well, like, I mean, outside of China, it's a bit hard to say with Chinese teams not being super active, but it's probably you and IHC/Checkmate that are like the top team in Asia, right? Do you think that having a bit more experience, right, playing LAN and stuff like that, gave you a big edge over them in this event?
I think I think one of the biggest things was that my team comprised of like really like experienced players. Like me, Zain, Kenziza, and Tobo, we've been playing like internationally for like the longest time.
Yeah.
But with like Checkmate slash IC right now, right? They actually there's a lot of them are like players that like actually like came up in like what we would call like the online the COVID pandemic stage of Asian CS. So I think experience wise, we definitely had an edge on them, and I think with the results of the game, it kind of just like showed for itself, right? That we managed to keep composed. I felt like some of their players, after like reviewing the demos and stuff like that, I felt like some of their players was actually not so calm and didn't play to their 100% potential. So I think with time and experience, I see will become like a real top contender in Asia, like for sure.
And so.
And they already are, to be honest. They are really good.
Yeah.
They just need to find like a good balance, I think.
Yeah, now obviously you've qualified for, well, I guess the qualifier for Blast in Europe. What are your expectations with that? And actually, where are you guys even boot camping?
So as far as I know, we're gonna be sent to a location in Europe, and we will be playing the tournament online from there. We're sorting out visas and stuff right now. So unfortunately, as much as I want to say, I'm so excited to go, things might still turn out badly, but I'm really hoping that everything goes smoothly. And then if it does, we can go there, gain some experience playing against like some of the best teams in the world. Get some European Counter-Strike in our veins, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can bring that back to Asia and just keep carrying on, improving. Because honestly, it's been a long time since any of us has went to Europe, except for like I think Dobu was there recently with Renewal for I think one of the ESL tournaments.
Yeah, I
I
think
cannot
so.
really recall, but yeah, but I think it's good for us to go there and get some exposure as a team, because NKT as an organization, as a team, fairly new. Of course, our players has been around for a long time, but it's been very long since we played any like tier 1 or 2 event. So this is a good opportunity, I think.
Mm. And you know, in the ideal world where you do get to go, there's no visa or travel issues. Are you guys planning to just play the qualifier, play some scrims, or are you gonna try to participate in a few other events if possible?
Well, that's the thing with the visas, right? I don't think we can secure a long enough visa to actually stay there and bootcamp there and everything.
I see.
It's really unfortunate because at the same time, it's also a little bit of a rush. We were done with the tournament. We won the tournament, like we won like the qualifier on the 27th, right? We only got information to do visas on the 5th, and it was a long process. And some of the visas are hard to do. Like for example, my Mongolian guys in the team, right? There is no like embassy. There's no like relevant embassy for them to go to. They actually have to go to the Czech Republic embassy to try and get a Schengen visa.
Oh wow.
For another country. So stuff is like a bit complex, but we're trying to see what we can do. More than likely, what's gonna happen is that we're probably going there, playing the event, get a little bit of practice in, and then we probably have to go back to Asia. Yeah, so unfortunate. We're not so ready to bootcamp in Europe. So we'll try, I guess. But honestly, from the way things are looking right now, it's very unlikely to happen, I think.
What about a boot camp in Asia? I imagine in Thailand probably, right? I think we'd spoken about that in the past, you and I, but is that still in the cards?
Yeah, we're definitely looking at doing that, but we also want to choose like a good timeline to do it, because with stuff like this, right, there is actually a golden timing in terms of balance of productivity and overwork. So this is something that is, I think, not many teams understand. It's not like just because you spend a year at bootcamp together, you're gonna get better.
Yeah.
Because then sometimes you might get lazy, you might lose motivation, you might lose track of your goals, your targets, and stuff like that, and then you just basically overwork yourself and burn out and everything. So we actually want to hit that golden timing, and what we want to do is actually maybe start the bootcamp like a month or 2 months before like the IMA qualifier, for example.
Right.
Because this is like the every player, every team's goal, right? Is to get into the major system, qualification system, be through the open qualifiers or minors and whatnot. And we really want to hit that fine line of bootcamping where it's like the golden timing, where we will get maximum productivity, and at the same time we will not overwork ourselves, and then we will peak at the right time for the tournament. And that's what we're trying to do. So it's in the cards. It's something that we are planning, but at the moment there's no like solid date on when we're doing it as well.
I see.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not like you guys live in a team house like Gambit used to, for example, right? So,
Yep.
it's you really got to make the most of the time. So, and it's true, you don't want to burn out, obviously. So, yeah, well, that's fair though. And so, what tournaments do you guys have, coming up then in Asia outside of obviously the Blast qualifier now?
Honestly, the only thing that's announced right now is the what is that? The ESL Challenger League.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a league system thing, right? So we don't actually know like we know the season will take like about 3 months. But when it comes to a league thing, we don't really know how the sign-outs are gonna be like. So sometimes with a league in Asia, right? Most of the time, in fact, leagues in Asia are like super like uncompetitive all the way out until the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, because they are the skill discrepancy, right? The disparity between like, let's say like tier 1 Asia and tier 2 Asia is just like unbelievably huge.
Yeah.
Because tier 2 Asia is basically really good players that are just like constantly changing teams. And never finding like a solid 5 to like kind of grind it out. And when teams do that, like they actually stick together for a long time, right? And they become like tier 1 in Asia.
Yeah.
It's only then that these teams will stay together for a long time. And outside of tier 1 Asia teams, right? Everyone's just like swapping teams like every now and then. It's like a shuffle every season.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a even like some like really well-known players, right? They are considered like tier 2 in Asia, but when they play against a tier 1 team, it's usually just like a washout, which is pretty sad to see. Unless like an occasional upset happens because like someone's having a good day, right?
Mhm.
But I'm actually a bit sad that there's such a huge difference in skill level between teams. But I'm also glad that ESL has like introduced a league in Asia, like a proper one.
Yeah.
Now I just hope that they do more like for example, IEM Dallas doesn't have like Asian qualifiers, which is pretty sad. Hopefully towards the end of the year they actually manage to do the IEM China.
Mhm.
That's like on ESL's calendar and stuff, right? But right now, even like FunSpark are not doing events. I heard there might be Pinnacle Cup in Asia coming soon.
Okay.
I hope it does. Yeah, because it's one of the big EU events online, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hoping that happens. But other than that, we only literally have ECL.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
I guess the good news is that like ECL now, instead of the ESEA Open it was before, does qualify you for their Challenger League conference or whatever it's called, right? So that does give you a shot potentially into Pro League, but
Yep.
you know, that's at least something to work towards. But I agree, the obvious drought in events and even qualifiers is kind of disheartening. Hopefully, as the world gets back to normal, we'll get a little bit more of more opportunities for Asian teams to qualify. But I imagine like a lot of TOs are probably not wanting to make qualifiers for the likes of Dallas, for example, if they know travel's just going to be so complicated.
Yeah, exactly. It's really quite sad, and like the one of the biggest issues is the fact that many of these tournaments, right, even if they want to host them, TOs just don't do the proper work into studying Asia as a region and find the appropriate like platforms to host them on, host tournaments on, find the appropriate people to speak to about scheduling, like even like the RMR minors, right? The open qualifiers was like announced the week before the play dates, and then people complained. I was one of them. I was like, basically, what the hell is going on? Why are you announcing like the open qualifier during Chinese New Year, right? Lunar New Year, and then like expecting players to play the next week. There were teams that were stuck overseas and stuff, and there's this thing about TOs that are fresh and new to Asia, right? That they always tend to screw up somehow or other, and it's always I almost always say the same thing. It is a huge disrespect to the Asian Oceanic region because they don't do the proper work, they don't ask the proper people, and they don't like find out how to actually do it well. And it is the shittiest thing being an Asian player that we are like the little guy and we're down, we're almost out, and then someone comes in and he's like haha, and he kicks us like right in the stomach, and then even though right, we get kicked when we're down, right, we have to say thank you because you hosted the event, which is the stupidest thing ever. We really, as players and as a community and as a region, we really should not be satisfied with how we're being treated. But we really have no choice as well. Because who is there to hear us? There's no CSPPA here, there's no like association, whatever, there's no ESIC here that gives a shit. Like, what are we supposed to do? It's actually so sad. But it doesn't stop us from playing, we still love the game. We just hope we can get treated a little bit better. I just hope like the Asian voices can be heard. That, you know, we really want to contribute to the Counter-Strike ecosystem in the world, right? One day when the alien life form has been discovered, and the only way to communicate with them is through Counter-Strike Universal Offensive, we want an Asian player to represent planet Earth, right? We don't want it to be just Europeans or Americans or anything like oceanic players. We want an Asian player to be there, you know? It's like we're proud of ourselves. We love our region. We support our own region. We support everyone in it. Asia loves Oceania also loves like Asia. We're constantly trying to help each other out and stuff like that. But the rest of the world just looks at us and like, these guys, they don't really matter, and it's really fucking sad. Only a few TOs actually like do their shit properly here. And I just wish more TOs would like learn from them, or even if they don't want to copy or they cannot due to like, you know, company regulations and whatever, they at least like reach out to people like me who have been playing like in Asia for like the longest time, who have not given up on Counter-Strike, because so many players has already. Ask people like me, you know, like the people who are in the scene for the longest time, they still love it. Ask us for advice, ask us like how things should be done properly, and you know, help us,
So let me
help
ask
you,
this then.
you know, to become better.
How do you keep the motivation up when there's all these issues?
Honestly, I just like I focus a lot on the present and on the now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every day I want to try and make a good change, be it for Asia, for myself, for my family, for the team, anything at all. And I I don't always like think like it's not always on my mind that shit, Asia is like
Yeah.
Asia's getting cucked again, you know. When it happens, it's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. It's not always on my mind that okay, it's another tournament with no qualifier for Asia, or it's another qualifier that's being held very badly. I think more like, you know, at least it's there.
Yeah.
At least there is some sort of effort. And every time I'm not happy with how like a TO runs something, I would just complain. I put my voice out there and be like, yeah, you guys are doing it, but you can do it better. Why don't you, you know, improve,
Mm-hmm.
make it better for everyone, make it good for yourself as well. You know, I just always try to make myself be heard. It may not matter to many people, but at least it matters to me and it gets it off my chest. And then, you know, I keep my motivation up. With a lot of things, I want to do good for the team. I want to do good for the region. I want to really prove that, you know, Asian players and Asian teams can do damage on the international scene.
Mm-hmm.
I want to let people know that we're out here. We're trying our very best. We're constantly playing against each other. We are sick and tired of playing against each other. We want to play against the rest of the world. We want to, all of us in Asia, we want to show that, you know, we can do something. And it'll be fun to watch our Counter-Strike. Even though sometimes there is some crazy shit that happens in Asia.
Yeah.
But there are teams here that will just do crazy things that will blow your mind, and not in a bad way. And I
Mhm.
want the entire world to know about that, and I really hope to, you know, achieve that. It's a huge part of why I'm still motivated to play Counter-Strike. Of course, I love the game. For me personally, it's a passion that, you know, they shared amongst even my family. My family watches me, they support me. My wife literally right now sitting beside me is on Mirage in matchmaking, screaming one backside. I don't know if you can hear that. But you know, it's something I love, and my family, they are all pillars of my life. My wife is my wife is the best bomb side anchor. She's the bomb side anchor of my heart. She keeps me motivated. She keeps me fresh. She gives me good ideas. You know, I have a great support system in place in terms of like emotionally and mentally. And you know, this is also part of the reason why I'm successful, is all the people around me trying their very best to help me out as well. Their motivation is never an issue for me, I think. I get lazy sometimes, yes, but mostly I'm still trying my very best to win.
Well, it's super heartwarming and uplifting to hear, honestly. Well, have you ever considered this? You know, once you're done as a player, like, I know that's something players don't like to think about generally, but have you considered maybe trying to join a TO and trying to be that change that you want to see?
I have thought about that. Honestly, it's not something that I do not like to think about, because I am, as much as I like to really live in the now and focus on what I can do today to make tomorrow better. One of the things that I always have to do is also make sure that I'm ready for tomorrow. And in order to be ready for tomorrow, you know, I also have to think about retirement plans, you know, and the like, right? So what I really want to do after I retire from Counter-Strike is actually to contribute more in Counter-Strike. Perhaps as a coach, because there is a very bad trickle of information from tier 1 to tier 2 players, to tier 3 players, to tier 4 players, tier 5 players in Asia, right? First of all, there is no pathway to going pro up until recently, where CSL Challenger League came in, right? There's almost no way for you to get noticed as a player and stuff like that. And people are not teaching the other players to become better, and what is the proper way to play Counter-Strike, how we should get everything done. There's a very bad trickle of information, right? From the past generation or the higher tier teams and stuff like that, due to mainly the language barrier and how the entire Asian region is so big, with so many cultures, languages, and stuff like that, right? So I want to be able to contribute in that aspect more. first. I think that is my priority. I want to make Asia a better Counter-Strike region.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe with my knowledge, with my experience and everything, I could be able to do that, provided that people are willing to listen, people are willing to learn. So that's what I want to do. I want to coach a team, if I can. I actually wanna coach like a Singaporean team, especially because I am a very patriotic person. I believe that Singapore has like really good Counter-Strike players. Just never have the good opportunity, the support, and the right knowledge on how to become even better. So like there's some really young kids that I wanna help out, help them become better, make them players that they want to be. There's also a lot of people within Southeast Asia that is constantly asking me, how are you still playing Counter-Strike at such a high level? What's your tips and tricks, stuff like that. And I also want to share that knowledge to the public, and hopefully they can make good use of it. So yeah, that's my first priority. Second priority is anything esports. Maybe join the TO, maybe join ESL Asia. It could be anything, you know. So long as I can help out somehow in esports, I think that would be nice.
Do you still think there's like interest in Counter-Strike in Singapore? Because I know a lot of the players that were at the sub top have now moved over to Valorant. Is there still a generation of players that you think want to play Counter-Strike?
Yeah, there is actually. So recently there's like 5 Singaporean players, right? Qualified for ECL through Open, through ESA Open, and these guys are like really young. They have the talent, they have the potential, right? But they need a lot more effort, and they need guidance. And I'm hoping I'll be able to guide them, but they're playing right now, and I'm playing right now, so it's not really a feasible option, right? I can't be like saying, hey, this is how I run my team, you could do it like the way.
Yeah.
But eventually, I think these guys, they'll keep playing. Maybe in a year or two, when they're like, right now they're like 17 to 21 or something.
Okay.
And maybe in a year or two they are 23. They're done with national service and they still want to play Counter-Strike, then I'm 100% be there for them to try and like tell them, this is a good way to play, this is a good idea, stuff like that. Just share the experience, because I think Counter-Strike is always like relatable. Metas change, weapons change, the way the game is being played changes, but honestly the basics, the foundation of it, comms, map control, stuff like that, right? They always stay the same, almost always the same.
Yeah, no, for sure. And obviously, like, actually, you raised an interesting point as well with the national service. There's, I'm from Canada. National service isn't like mandatory. You can, join the army if you want to, but it's not a mandatory thing. I've noticed that in a few countries, say Israel or Finland, right, where it is a bit more mandatory, it often harms some players' careers. Do you think that was the case for Singapore? Do you think it's kind of held back a lot of players?
It's something that really holds back a lot of players, not just in Counter-Strike. In every game title, there's so many good players in Asia. In Singapore, in many different game titles, but a lot of them are like they basically have to serve 2 years of national service, which cuts out a lot of opportunities for them to play full time. You cannot play full time and at the same time be serving national service, because then you'll be moonlighting, which is against military law. So you cannot get paid simultaneously doing something. Prize money and stuff, it's okay, but you cannot actually be paid like a salary.
I see.
So you cannot play pro. And also it's very, very time consuming to be in the army. Most people only get to go home on the weekends. So it's impossible to practice and train and hone yourself as like a proper player if it's like that. So yeah, it definitely holds back a lot of players. It's really sad to see. But I think every man in Singapore gets through with it. And if they are strong enough as a person and they really want it enough, right, to succeed in the esports, then they will find a way. It is what I've done, it's also what I did, and it's also something that I believe other people can do as well. So long as they are willing to put in the effort.
I think, was it Faker recently as well that was exempt from his military service in Korea? Maybe down the line there will be some exceptions. I doubt the average, pugger will get to skip, but who knows?
Maybe one day. In Singapore, it's still like really impossible. You basically have to serve the army even if you're pursuing like a masters in like medicine or something,
Interesting.
and it's super strict. Yeah, and if you don't do it, you go AWOL, you're gonna lose your nationality,
Oh, wow.
like your citizenship. Yeah, so if you're gonna pursue esports in Singapore, it's gonna be hard.
Mm.
But if the opportunity comes by and you really grab it by the throat, right, and you'd honestly be fine with some effort and some luck.
Mm. And so tell me a bit about this team as well that made it through Open. I've looked at the pages, but I've not really clocked which team and you're talking about. Who really stands out to you on that roster.
So I wouldn't say like these players are like incredible, like the Nick Simple was always coming up, right?
Of course.
But I appreciate the effort that they're putting into Counter-Strike, despite much more tempting offers such as Valorant.
Yeah.
And I believe that because they are young, right? There's always that potential. I haven't like personally like looked at how they play. Like they're like, okay, this guy is gonna be much better than that guy.
Right.
But the fact that they are playing together, right, and they're trying to make it work is really something that I appreciate and I like to look at. And just because I love my country and my countrymen, I want to be able to help them at least be like solid #1 in Southeast Asia, right? Excluding NKT, because I think NKT is like no longer a Southeast Asian team, even though we're a Southeast Asian org.
That's true.
And I represent a good part of Southeast Asia. In like right now, it's like technically the holy trinity of like Southeast Asia is like me, Bentet, and Kaze. Indonesia, Singapore, and Malaysia. Outside of like the three of us, there's not really any pro players anymore now that Aspirations is taking a break. So I want to make the Singapore flag constantly show up on HLTV. That's what I really want to aim for. So
that's
yeah,
goal.
that's what I really want to try to do. Yeah.
Do you think like starting your organization is something you'd want to do down the line, or not really?
I'm not so much of a business person. So if somehow or other it happens, I probably won't be so much involved in the business side.
Right.
I'll probably, if anything, I'll want to do something like head of esports, or CGO, but not so much so like CEO of like Ocelot, Carlos kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to be
If
more
it's a
hands-on
Khan
with
kind
the
of thing,
teams.
maybe. Yeah, if it's Khan, then if it's a Khan in Fnatic, I think that will be doable. But Ocelot, I don't think so. Yeah, so and I'm not thinking that far ahead, because right now my next step honestly is to relocate to Singapore with my wife.
Okay.
And I want to get my apartment. I want to set down my roots and everything in Singapore already, because I've been like away from Singapore for like the past 2 or 3 years. And even though I have been like working, like getting paid, playing Counter-Strike and stuff like that, but it's also time for me to start setting down roots where I want to raise my children in the future. So yeah, one step at a time for me, my personal life first, and then afterwards I'll look at what I can do for esports.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, first off, gotta make the major. Gotta get me some of those NKT stickers. And eventually, make playoffs at the major if that's still the system, so I can get an impression sticker and put that on my AK.
Ooh, sounds like it's pretty tall ask, but we're gonna try.
I have faith. Yeah. Well, I think that's about all the time we have, but I want to thank you for taking the time to record this episode, and be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment for Impression. I'm sure he'll answer them. And I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, right. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for letting me have the experience of being a lab rat. Yeah, it was fun. His schedule is a nice chat, and let's catch up soon as well.
Hell yeah! All right.
All right. Thank you.